Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and it is time for my annual video where we look at the top tech products of the last year. The ground rules for this video is that this is something that I had to have reviewed here on the channel over the last 12 months. There's a lot of great tech out there that I did not review, and that is why your favorite item may not be on the list here. But we've got a good selection of stuff to look at, and it's great that we're still finding things given how stagnant the tech industry has been over the last couple of years. So I'm looking forward to sharing this with you, and you'll be able to find full reviews of all of this stuff down below in the video description, along with affiliate links where you can find these things for the loved ones in your life right around the holiday season here. Now, before we get into this, I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that some of these items came in free of charge from their respective manufacturers. I will point that out as we work our way through the list here. All of the opinions, though, you're about to hear are my own. No other compensation was received for this video, nor did anyone review or approve what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what our top picks are of the last year. So our first product category this year are PCs, and I was very impressed with what I've seen out of the Intel N100 processor. And one of the best computers running with that processor right now is this very inexpensive box from GMKTek. This is called the G3. It is very easily upgradable. You can just pull the top lid off here, swap out the RAM, and put in more storage. So it has an NVMe SSD slot here. You'll have one already occupying that spot when you get it. And you've got an M-SATA slot there for adding additional storage. And I've been running Linux and Windows on this device, and I boot off of the drive that I want for the operating system that I'm looking for at that moment. This thing is incredibly powerful for its price point. It's amazing what you can do with these devices, not only for general computing, but also server tasks. It's a great Plex server. The transcoding capabilities of the N100 here are mind-blowing, especially given that it can do 4K transcoding down to like 720p in real time, in addition to tone mapping the HDR to SDR at the same time. It's just a remarkable little box. You'll find plenty of things that you can do with it, and this is definitely my favorite of the N100 devices out right now. And of course, you can check my review for all the details about what you can do with this little device. And in full disclosure, GMKTek sent this mini PC to the channel free of charge. This next item also came in from its manufacturer free of charge. This is the Healuck network-attached storage device. And what's nice about this thing is that it really is a mini PC in a NAS form factor. So you've got these drive bays here where you can pop in a SATA hard drive for storage, and these can be hot swapped. They have a 4-bay version of this also. Now, it can function like a mini PC in that you could put Windows on it or Linux or whatever, but you can also run some of the popular NAS options out there like Unraid and TrueNAS and whatever else you want to run. And this is a very nice package to run it in because you've got the N100 processor on here. It's great for media encoding. You have two 2.5 gigabit Ethernet jacks on the back, USB ports for plugging in external storage for backup. There's just a lot you can do with this thing, and I found it to be a nice implementation of the N100 platform. And if you've been looking to run your own server in your home, this is a good option because you do get the power efficiency of the N100 along with more storage options. And speaking of data storage, that is our next topic. And our first product in this category is Unraid. Unraid is a commercial software package that will turn your computer or your little NAS box here into a home server. And I really like how they've implemented it. It's very easy to migrate your Unraid installation from one device to another. You just take the drives out, put them in a new computer, and reboot with the external drive that you boot Unraid on. That's a great feature, especially if you're always moving to new hardware. You don't have to rebuild your arrays all the time. They have a very different approach to how they handle a RAID array, and you can find out more in the full review that I did a few weeks ago. And it's also one of the best ways to run Docker containers, in my opinion, with an interface that is not as difficult to learn for new Docker users as it would be if you had to go through the whole command line thing. So it's a great platform. Definitely check out the review that I did in the video description, and I will be this year buying the 4-bay version of the Healuck here and moving my media server over to it. and I'm going to run Unraid on it, and that will be the topic of an upcoming video, so stay tuned for that. And in full disclosure, we were running the trial version of Unraid in the video that we did a few weeks ago. This next item is a high-capacity solid-state drive from Sandisk. This is designed for desktop use, and these come in 8 terabyte and 4 terabyte configurations. The 4 terabyte right now is selling for just under $300. And these are a great way to store a large photo library or do backups with Time Machine or whatever Windows equivalent that you're running with. And because it's solid state, it doesn't make any noise. The performance of the drive is certainly better than an external spinning drive you might attach to your computer. And what's also neat about it is that it's powered by its own power supply. So you don't have to rely on the computer or your hub or dock to provide power to the drive, which is actually good for reliability purposes. So if you were looking for a quiet, high-capacity drive, this one might be worth taking a look at. And we've got a review of it down below in the description. And in full disclosure, Sandisk sent this to the channel a little bit earlier this year for review free of charge. And next up, we've got a smartphone that made the list this year. This one came in free of charge from Google in full disclosure. This is their Pixel 8a, and this is a mid-range phone. You can get them for around $500 or less. And there's not much of a compromise on this phone versus their more expensive flagships. So you've got the wireless charging on it. You've got 2 cameras on the back. It performs exceptionally well because it's got the Tensor 3 processor, which is similar to what you get on their higher-end Pixel 8 phone. It just is a real fun phone to use because you're not compromising much for saving a little bit of money, and that's always what I'm looking for. It even has a nice OLED display on board, a fingerprint reader, facial recognition. It does it all, and I am very, very happy with it. One other neat thing about this is that you can plug it into external displays over the USB-C port. That was a new feature they added this year in one of their Pixel drops. And because this is a Pixel phone, it does get supported pretty well by Google over the lifespan of it. And if you were looking for a phone that is functional but doesn't break the bank, you're not giving up all that much by going to the 8A versus their more expensive flagships. So good device here from Google, and we'll see what they come up with next year in this price category. Now, this next topic is the bread and butter topic of this channel, which of course are TV streaming boxes. And who would have thought that Walmart, of all companies, would be cranking out the best Android TV boxes money can buy right now, at least from a value standpoint. This is the ON 4K Pro. This is their top-of-the-line box. It's less than $50. It has 3 gigabytes of RAM. It performs exceptionally well. I was really impressed with just how well everything navigates here and how quickly things pop up. No issues here. It supports Dolby Vision. You can do some light gaming on it. It even has Ethernet and a USB port on the back as well. Ethernet is only 100 megabit. It's not really the best box for Plex users, at least those looking for 4K Blu-ray performance. But for all of your streaming needs, this is a great way to make your TV smarter, and you get access to all of the great apps in the Google TV and Android TV ecosystem. They're actually doing a pretty good job of keeping these things up to date. So this has the latest Google TV interface on it. And you really can't go wrong with these devices, especially if you're looking for something affordable. This one also has a speaker built in. You can do voice commands to it when the TV is off. And just really pleased with how much value they've packed into this. I paid for this with my own funds, and I'm sure we'll have another unbox to look at in 2025. They seem to crank them out every 8 or 9 months or so. All right, next up is our gaming category, and we're going to be focused a bit on retro gaming this year. And the first item is this really fun do-it-yourself Game Boy kit made by a company called Funnyplaying. I bought mine from Retro Game Repair Shop over in Rhode Island, and that's where I would recommend you go to get yours. And what you do is you pick out all your components, the case, the buttons, the motherboard, the display, and you can put it all together and make yourself a modern FPGA-powered Game Boy Color that feels exactly like the original. I've been so impressed with how this Game Boy functioned and how easy it was to put together. You don't have to do any soldering. You just put all the components together and get yourself a Game Boy complete with a rechargeable battery and a beautiful backlit display. It's not all that expensive. I think I paid a little over $100 for it. And one of the fun things about it is that you get the satisfaction of knowing you built this thing yourself, which is always a lot of fun. So check it out, a great gift idea. It'll keep the kids busy for at least an hour or two as they put their Game Boy together. All right, next up we have a new version of a product that made the list a couple of years ago. This is the 8BitDo Pro 2. It remains one of my favorite game controllers, and the new version now has more sensitive and longer lasting Hall effect thumbsticks on it. So these are less prone to wear and drifting over time. The controller is still incredibly comfortable in the hand. They've kind of combined the Super Nintendo look here with PlayStation handles, and it all just comes together very nicely. It works with just about everything. The only thing it doesn't work with are Xbox and PlayStation consoles, but iPhones, iPads, Apple TVs, PCs, Macs, Raspberry Pis, Android devices, it pretty much works with everything. It even works with the Nintendo Switch. So a great controller. It's got great customization software too, and not all that expensive. One other new thing they added this year are some of these cool translucent colors like this blue one. And in full disclosure, this came in from 8BitDo free of charge. And in keeping with our retro theme of this year, I found this great tool called Retrobat. This is free and open source software. And what this does is it allows you to more easily manage your emulation of retro games on Windows PCs. It can run off of an external drive. It is totally portable. So this drive I keep down here for testing computers, and I can just pop this in and have my emulator already configured and ready to go. So here we've got a PS2 game that I'm loading up right now, and all of my save games basically live on that external drive. So when I boot up a new PC to review, I just pop the drive in, all of my controls are set, the game is ready to go. Even my save game I can get to quickly. This installs usually the best emulator for whatever you are looking to run. So it will keep everything up to date for you as well. So there's not much to think about here. You just put your ROMs and disk images in the folder on the drive, and Retrobat takes care of the rest. Completely free and open source, and definitely worth taking a look at. And I did a full review of it that you'll find down below in the description. All right, next up is our smart home category. And the best smart home device that I've picked up this year is the Eufy E340. In fact, I've bought 3 of these now, and I paid for all of them with my own funds. This is a great doorbell. What I like most about it is that there is no monthly fee to use it. So you get all of the features that it offers without having to pay more than the cost of entry. And what's also nice about this one is it's got a camera that points at the ground, and it's got some AI that will notify you when packages are left by your door. You can talk to people through it. All the things you can typically do on a smart doorbell are here, with great image quality and, again, no ongoing cost of ownership. The build quality is great on this. The batteries are easily removable. It stores its video on device, but they've got a couple of different ways you can bring that footage inside the home. They sell a Chime that has an SD card on it that will download the footage from the doorbells. I'm also experimenting right now with their home server product that does it on a hard drive, and I'll be looking at that a little bit later in the year once I get all these things set up, along with a couple of cameras I got as well. So pretty good stuff here from Eufy. I do want to eventually manage my own security system where I'm storing everything with things that don't work or require the cloud, but I like this product line quite a bit. High quality stuff with no monthly fee, which is always a good thing. Let's take a look at our last category now. And that last category are tablets, and I found one this year that I thought was rather interesting. I don't have much of a use for it myself, but it's one of these things where I can see it being useful for others, and that is the Boox Palma. It's about the size of a smartphone, but it runs with an e-ink display similar to what you would get on a Kindle. However, it's running Android, so you can not only install the Kindle reader on it, but you can install all the other readers that are out there on it too. The screen looks great, the battery life is spectacular, and there's a lot of things that you can run on the Boox Palma that are just regular Android apps that actually do quite well with that e-ink display. So if you're someone who can find some value in this, I think it's worth checking out, because I do think there's a lot of folks out there that might enjoy this device. And I did hear from a number of you who commented on the video about how much you love yours. So I wanted to pass that along as a very innovative product that made the cut this year. So that is it for this year's top tech products. It's getting harder and harder to do this video because so much of what we use now has been consolidated into these smartphones, but there's still stuff out there. And as always, I rely on you all to tell me about the things that you're finding that are pretty cool. So please continue to give me recommendations. I'll try to get as much of this stuff in over the next 12 months as I can, and hopefully some of those devices will make the cut next year. Let me know what you thought of this list down in the comments section, and until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.